Hi, fans of high quality entertainment. So today I thought I would show you, just my own personal opinion on 20 drummers that I feel are underrated. Now, some of these you might, disagree with me and think they're not underrated, but, everybody has their own personal opinions on everything. And this is just mine, and I have ranked them, but these rankings I don't take too seriously. It's just for fun, usually. And so I try not to stress about ranking anything. And so here we go. And I would love your thoughts on this. And also other drummers that you think are not top, you never see them in even a top 50 drummers list usually. And I feel most of these drummers I never see, anywhere near the top of any drummers list. Here we go. Number 20, Moe Tucker from the Velvet Underground. Yeah, especially when I think of her drumming, I especially think of the song Sister Ray, which just goes on forever. She was such a powerful drummer, especially for being a female. I'm not saying, females don't have power, but, she's not the biggest woman either, but she could really bash those drums. And so I've always been impressed with all of her work with the Velvet Underground. And, a couple of times that she sings, she's got a very sweet voice too. So she's number 20 for me. Number 19. That's right, Paul McCartney. Yeah, even though he's not really necessarily a drummer, he's certainly drummed, quite often throughout his solo career, and even drummed with the Beatles on back in the USSR. Excuse me, back in the USSR, and Dear Prudence, and The Ballad of John and Yoko, and probably a few others. And I think he's just a good, solid drummer. So I feel he's underrated. Number 18. Yeah, Doug Cosmos Clifford from Creedence Clearwater Revival. I don't think he's ever really talked about. And I think he's, once again, just a really solid drummer. I love his drum work, especially on Keep on Chooglin' and Ramble Tamble. And I just think he's underrated. Number 17. Yeah, Karen Carpenter. I do see her on some lists, but, when you think of the Carpenters, you don't think, oh, one of the best drummers ever. But seeing footage of her, all you have to do is, on YouTube, put in Karen Carpenter drumming or whatever, and you'll see a handful of great drumming. She's, once again, I feel underrated. Number 16. Yeah, Don Brewer from Grand Funk Railroad. Just that's what I think about most of any drummer that's in a fairly well-known band has to be, I feel, at least pretty decent on drums. But I think Don Brewer is above average as a drummer from everything that I've heard from him, and even his drum solos. I'm not a big fan of, listening to like a 10-minute drum solo, but he's good. So he's number 16. And also, of course, great vocals. And number 15, same with Karen Carpenter, of course. Number 15, yeah, Rick Allen has to be on any drummer's list, especially when the guy only has one arm. And he managed to somehow, change his kit around, and I guess he does things with both of his feet, and just, an amazing comeback. Being a drummer and then losing one of your arms. I'm not a big fan of Def Leppard, but I totally respect Rick Allen as a drummer. Number 15. Number 14. Yeah, I loved seeing Bun E. Carlos in Cheap Trick. Once again, a really solid drummer. And also his personality, in the early days, just the way he would drum, the way he would look, and the cigarette dangling from his mouth, just like in this picture. It's too bad he's not with Cheap Trick anymore. Excellent drummer. Number 13. Yeah, Larry Mullen Jr. First of all, I love his name. And I've seen U2 in concert. I think they're a great live band. I've been kind of turned off their music for the last 10 years or so, but I love early U2, and I think he's a great drummer. Number 12. From Blue Oyster Cult, Al Bouchard. I was just listening to the live version of Dominance and Submission with him on drums. And he's just a powerhouse. Not a big guy or anything, just, but he can really play the drums. I love his vocals, and an excellent songwriter too. Number 11. From The Clash, Topper Headon. I'm not sure how you pronounce his last name. Hedon. But yeah, all his drumming on all of the albums that he was on. London Calling, Sandinista, just amazing. So he's number 11. So now we go into the top 10. Number 10. Yeah, I never really think of, when I think of Pink Floyd, of course, I love a lot of their music, but I never, and everybody talks about Roger Waters, his bass playing, David Gilmour, of course, the keyboards, everything. But nobody really talks about Nick Mason as a great drummer, and he is. So he's number 10. Number 9. Dino Danelli from the Rascals, or the Young Rascals. Especially, see him when you see him on like the Ed Sullivan Show with the Rascals, and he's just, kind of showing off like the way he's drumming and everything, and he's keeping time like when he is showing off, so excellent drummer. Number 8. The Doors, John Densmore. Yeah, kind of jazzy drumming, and just very, unique, I think, for a rock band, the way he drums. And I've always loved his drum. So he's number 8. Number 7. Yeah, I did a post in my community recently about Alan Myers, saying that as much as I love Devo, their records, they are twice as good live, especially in the Alan Myers era. And one of the other band members called him the human metrodome. Is that how you say it, metrodome? But yeah, on a song like Smart Patrol, Mr. DNA, he's just going crazy on the drums, especially live. And I never really thought about this, but on their Freedom of Choice album, the song Whip It was such a big hit. I used to actually think that was a drum machine. And it wasn't. It was Alan Myers drumming on it. So, way to go, Alan Myers. May you rest in peace. Number 6, Abe Laboriel Jr. That's right. If you're in Paul McCartney's band, you're a pretty good musician. And I love his drumming. I was lucky enough to see Paul McCartney live in Toronto in 2010. And I also met the band backstage, except for Paul McCartney. And I just love him, his personality. He's also a great singer. And just one of the greats. Number 5. Yeah, Ian Pace of Deep Purple. I might see him sometimes on a greatest drummers list, but never, near the top, or hardly ever at the top. And, his drumming, just on the song Burn, is amazing. Number 4, sorry. Terry Bozzio. Yeah, once again, if you used to drum with Frank Zappa, then you're considered a pretty darn good drummer. And Terry certainly is. That's a pretty big drum kit. Number 3. Yeah, Bill Ward. John Bonham, I understand him being at or near the top of all these drumming polls, but I think Bill Ward should be right up there with him because I think he's as powerful as John Bonham was, and he could just attack. I don't know who Animal from Sesame Street was based on, but it could have been based on Bill Ward. Because he was an animal I think maybe it was John Bonham that Animal was based on. Maybe somebody can let me know. Okay, number 2. Yeah, Phil Collins. Now, if you're a drummer or if you're really knowledgeable about prog rock music, then you would probably know that Phil's one of the greatest. But, overall, he's known more for all of his hit songs in the 80s. And some people might not even know. He plays the drums. Yeah, he sure could play the drums. And, very sad about his health issues the last few years, but great drummer. And number 1, you know what it is, or you know who it is. Ringo friggin' Starr. That's right, I said Ringo friggin' Starr. I think for musicians, he's highly regarded, if not the best, one of the best drummers. But just, for a casual fan, they might think, Ringo Starr drumming, he's nothing to it. But he was definitely what helped make the Beatles. He was a 25% of the Beatles for a reason. I don't think the Beatles would have made the great albums that they did without Ringo's drumming. He was a big part of the band, as were all 4 members. So Ringo is number 1. And that is it. I would love your thoughts in the comment section below.